Hi, this is Sam Rashkin. We're going to start this meeting on integrating offsite construction with DOE Zero Energy Ready Home in just about a couple of minutes. So just hang on. Hey, welcome everyone. Again, this is Sam Rashkin with the Department of Energy Building Technologies Office, and here with me today is Jamie Lyons from Newport Partners. We're here today for a meeting called Integrating Offsite Construction with the DOE Zero Energy Ready Home program. So I want to thank you all for joining, and I'm going to go to the, see if I can go to the next slide. What I want to do is walk you all through what we're going to cover today. We have next 2 hours blocked out. We may finish a bit early if things go as I suspect. But I want to begin with just a welcome, as I'm doing now, the agenda review and introductions. And after that, we're going to go to an overview of the Zero Energy Ready Home program. Once we do that, we'd like to engage the offsite community participating in this discussion to talk about potential actions to engage with your community. And from the list of actions that we have, we'll kind of see if we can focus on the high priority actions moving forward that we should most focus on to optimize our engagement with the offsite industry. And then we'll wrap up and talk about what we do moving forward. What I want to do to begin is we have a number of us on the line, but I'd like us to get through the introductions without too much time, is have folks introduce themselves by name, company, and if you're an offsite company, could you indicate what type of offsite construction you're engaged in? It could be either panel, it could be modular, it could be kit, whatever you may do share that with us. And keep it short. So without the ability to see people, I'm going to let people kind of jump right in and again, quickly introduce themselves. And if our team and others from DOE are online, they can introduce themselves at the end. So the offsite participants, let's start with you all. Can you start introducing yourselves? Shy group. If you're if you're muted, let me see if I can unmute you. Okay, Holly Carr, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, great. Lee Dickens, are you there?
I'm here.
Great. Terry Deacon?
Terry Deacon?
Are you there? Okay, great. Let me just keep scrolling down. Paul Davey, are you there? Jerry McCaughey, are you there? Jerry, are you there? I think you may be muted, Jerry. Can't hear you. Balgoon
I'm here.
Patel, great. Aaron Sorensen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here with Chris Blanchard.
Excellent. Gamble, are you there?
I am.
Good. Christina Garzozzi, are you there? I'll take that as a yes. And Brandon Weiss, are you there, Brandon? Okay, let me try again with Brandon. I think your line's trouble coming through, so we don't hear you. Andrew Day, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Great. Aiden Scully, are you there? Okay. Aaron Holm, are you there? Okay, so I think some of you who are not using your phone lines are having trouble coming through. And for some reason, Aaron and Falgoon, I can't unmute you for some reason. And so I'm going to unmute all attendees and hope this works. Okay. Adam Haas, are you in the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Aaron, Adam?
But I was muted for most of it, Sam, so you'll have to unmute me when you want me to talk.
Okay, great. You're unmuted now. Could you, Adam, just do a few-minute introduction about the ABC FOA before I begin the core meeting?
Great. Thanks, Sam. And thank you all for joining this webinar. My name is Adam Haas. I'm a fellow on the residential team at the Building Technologies Office, and I've had the pleasure of working with Sam for the last year and a half. The main thing that I've been working on is what we're calling the Advanced Building Construction Initiative, which is a new effort from BTO to accelerate energy efficiency improvements through productivity gains in construction. Specifically, we're looking at how the shift towards modular prefabrication, offsite production can enable greater energy savings and greater building performance within new construction and in retrofits. So this call of offsite with zero energy ready home is very much in line with that. Thus far for advanced building construction, we have released a FOA that will be the results of the FOA will be publicly released within a couple weeks. We solicited applications starting in May of last year, went through a review process, and finally got the approval to release those results just this past Monday. And we'll be publicly sharing those very soon. So I'll make sure that Sam has that information to pass it along to everybody in this call. But the types of technologies in that FOA include different modular and prefabricated envelope improvements, both for retrofits and new construction, some combined HVAC equipment that would combine heat pump, space heating with heat pump water heaters, energy recovery ventilators, and a controls module. There's also a lot of things focused on digital translation. So thinking about how do we scan the outside of a building with a laser scanner and translate that into BIM, and then translate those files into CAM to be able to manufacture the things to the specific dimensions needed for any particular building. Then the last thing that I'll mention is there's going to be, as part of the Advanced Building Construction Initiative, a collaborative that brings together various stakeholders across the buildings industry. We're trying to coordinate between general contractors, building equipment manufacturers, developers, utilities, building owners, researchers, and many other entities as well, to be able to align the R&D investments that DOE and other public entities are making, as well as help to drive demand for this type of advanced building construction within the marketplace. I'm happy to talk more about this later, but hopefully that was a good introduction, Sam. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover.
That's great. Thank you so much, Adam. Okay, so I want to review the agenda going forward. Oh, I did review the agenda. We'll go again through an overview right after these introductions about Zero Ready, and we'll engage you all on actions to engage with Offsite, high priority actions, and wrap up. So let me start with the introductions. I have to use the slides over in the control center. Okay, so first thing I want to do in the overview is go through the background. And after I finish going through the background, I'm going to hand off to Jamie Lyons to walk you through some of the specifications and case studies that we have with Offsite construction and the Zero Energy Ready Home program. So what is a Zero Energy Ready Home? I like to begin by getting us all with the same common understanding what DOE is attempting to do in the marketplace. And at its most simple level, we're trying to be a conduit for the proven innovations from our research programs, primarily Building America, and the industry. Get those proven innovations to the industry through a labeling program with specifications that build on all those investments made to come up with truly important innovations for the industry. The results of this is, first of all, excuse me, see if I can. I'm at the control panels, which is not a good idea. But anyway, the first step one in our program is you want to optimize energy efficient performance. And the way you do that's a two-pronged strategy. One is you do an energy efficient enclosure, roofs, walls, windows, foundations, that meets and exceeds the latest codes. And by doing that, we ensure an optimized level of comfort and efficiency in the homes. Once you do that, more than half the energy use now resides inside the home with all the equipment and the components. So the second part of how we optimize energy efficient performance is by ensuring all those components throughout the home and the equipment are energy efficient, typically Energy Star certified performance, and that's how we basically optimize energy efficiency. Now the next step two is we realize that we enhance risk every time we ratchet up the energy efficiency of the enclosure. So what we do is we have a three-pronged strategy for managing that risk. First, we know that our enclosure has less tolerance for drying and more tolerance for getting wet, so we ensure comprehensive water protection. Second, we know we have an ultra-low load home with such a good enclosure, so we make sure that the comfort system is prepared to work effectively with a low load home. And that involves a number of things like ducts inside the conditioned space and quality installation of the HVAC system. And in humid climates, having assurance that humidity loads can be managed, particularly during the swing seasons. Finally, to do no harm, we know that the homes are much more airtight. So we have a comprehensive indoor air quality strategy, pretty much pegged to the EPA Indoor Air Plus program. So now that's step two. We optimize energy efficiency. We make sure we manage the challenges and risks that come along for the ride with that additional energy efficiency performance. And finally, third is we try to make sure the house is future ready, at least when it comes to solar, with solar ready construction. And this entails simple low cost, no cost details. So solar can be installed anytime in the future when it's not included during construction, with no disruption and minimal cost penalty. And so that's the Energy Star specification. And that's when the labels on the building, those building blocks are included with every home. Looking to the future, we have our eyes on resilience as a critical next piece to ensuring our labeled homes are ready for the future. So that's the basic description of what is Energy Star. So the question would be, how do we translate this fairly complex set of building blocks to the consumer? And so for that purpose, we have a 60-second video I thought I would share with you. I'm going to run it and let it do its work. Let's see if I can get the sound going. And okay, I tell you what I'm going to do since the sound's not working. I'm going to narrate this for you because the sound's not working. But essentially, here's the gist. A home is the biggest purchase decision. Often we don't know how to optimize it. We look for cosmetics and location. And it's important what's underneath the home, and the Zero Energy label can help us make the best purchase. And first thing it does is it helps ensure that we optimize our costs by being the lowest cost of ownership, saving up to tens of thousands of dollars. Then it ensures comfort with a comprehensive system for blanketing our home in comfort. And then our home includes comprehensive health, so it's got a clean bill of health. And then our homes have a total umbrella protection for water, so that we have total assurance and peace of mind our homes won't have water problems. And then they're completely equipped with high performance energy efficient products that earn the Energy Star label throughout the home. So they are meeting the highest standards. And in effect, these homes are built to meet future expectations and beyond. So these homes are positioned to be for the future. So look for an Energy Star home at this website. And there you go. Of course, it's much better with the actual music and background, but I can fake basic content that we have. Okay, so that's how we translate to consumer, is basically that this is a home of the future. This is a home that lives better. Here's why it lives better: comfort, durability, hundreds of thousands of dollars of lower cost of ownership, built for the future. Now go to the website and learn how you can find how to get one. So that brings us to why Zero is the future from a larger perspective. And the first thing I want to highlight is the industry readiness. There were over 240,000 HERS ratings last year, and we kind of broke the 60 sound barrier, if you will. Prior to last year, the average HERS index was above 60, and last year I think was really significant outcome that the average HERS index was below 60. I say that because the median HERS rating to achieve Zero Energy Ready home is in the 50 to 55 range. So you can tell the average HERS index for 240,000 homes, almost a third of all the single family homes constructed last year, the average HERS index is approaching Zero Energy Ready home. And that leads us to estimate that 100,000 or more homes are ready for Zero Energy Ready home and can easily meet the performance requirements. So that's the first reason why Zero. The second is just the growth that we're experiencing. This is a chart that shows the certifications over time. The green line is the annual certifications. The blue is the cumulative. The growth is substantial for us from the beginning, slow start, and we love the trajectory that we're on right now. We're currently right at 5,000 homes with last month's tally included. So we're going past 5,000 homes, and our growth is a very strong indicator that Zero's moving. And we're in a tremendous number of states throughout the country where these certifications are happening. But beyond the Zero Energy Ready home program, there's a national survey of homes that are certified to zero or zero ready in the US and Canada. And this is done by a group called Team Zero. They've been doing it since 2015. The last full year is 2018, and where 2015 was just over 6,600 homes, 2018 was over 22,000 homes. We're looking at nearly 400% growth in the last 4 years of homes certified as zero or zero energy ready. So tremendous growth happening across the country, and so that's another indicator. The other one I'd point out is just research from the building community when they're queried about whether they built or plan to build or a net zero, a near net zero, or a net zero ready home. The increase is over 100% from 2015 to those projecting their activity in 2019, from 21% to 44% commitment. So again, builders themselves are kind of anticipating this is their future as well. And then there's a buyer preference indicator that also says zero is the future. The favorability for zero performance is nearly unanimous, with 98% of the builders, 95% of the buyers, 89% of remodelers, and so tremendous indication that this is happening from the industry and from the buyers. 83% of buyers and 89% of builders are likely to consider this level of performance, and 84% of builders stated a willingness to pay more. So great indicators that from the industry and the consumer that zero is the future. And also just the activities happening at the local government level. Globally, 19 mayors have signed net zero carbon pledges to basically ensure new buildings operate at net zero by 2030 and all buildings by 2050. So of those 19 mayors, I think 6 are located in the US. So very significant representation here in the country. At the state government level, carbon-free electricity commitments by 2045 and 2050 are already in place with 9 different states, including Puerto Rico as one of the states. So we're seeing states making major commitments to move to a zero future as well. And if not the states, the energy codes on a national level and state level are both moving towards zero energy targets. This includes the 2021 IECC, which was just voted on and completed. And essentially, if you look at the 2021 IECC, it is substantially a zero energy ready enclosure in terms of how much more stringent it is. So that's a significant move. And among states, you have 7 states that are well on the path to zero energy codes. And in the case of California, they already have a code in place for net zero energy residential construction. So even the codes are moving almost towards a mandate that is a clear indicator zero is the future. So I'd like to wrap up my introduction by saying we also recognize that offsite is the future. If you look across the industry and really objectively take note of 4 crises, all of them point to offsite construction. Affordability is a huge challenge for the industry. 80% of households are basically living paycheck to paycheck. 40% of households cannot even afford a $400 expense. Home prices are escalating at a almost like an exponential curve level, while household income is staying relatively flat. The industry is basically at a cliff when it comes to making sure that the consumer can afford to buy its product. And I think the offsite industry is uniquely positioned to address that challenge. Over 80% of builders are being reported to being challenged to find trades in major categories of construction. And this is on numerous sources. Unless there's a magic wand out there that we don't know about, trades are not going to get fixed anywhere in the near future. In fact, it's almost a two-headed monster. On one end, you have a kind of a gray tsunami of older tradespeople retiring out of the professions. And on the front end, you have a sparse amount of entry of young professionals into the trades. And on the productivity side, the housing industry is 3 times less productive than all other non-farm industries. And that's affecting both trades and affordability, so it's a major crisis. And on the innovation side, the housing industry is the least likely among all major industries to exploit and leverage data, technology, software, and that has to change. All those are completely uniquely more capable by the offsite industry. And that's why we are firmly convinced that the offsite is so much of the future for the new housing industry, and so much why we recognize the importance of offsite at a very much increasing level. So the conclusion is it's time. It's time to integrate zero energy ready home and offsite construction. Many of you that are on the line because we are aware that you're moving into the space if you're not there already. And so we'd love to find a way to really accelerate our coordination and ability to work together. So that's the introduction. I'm going to hand off my headset to Jamie Lyons and let him walk you through the specifications. So here's Jamie Lyons from Newport Partners.
Great, thank you, Sam. And thanks everybody for spending part of your day with us today. So the next few slides are going to, they're intended to give everybody a sense of what exactly do we mean with a zero energy ready home? What do the specifications look like? So as we start to unpack that, we'll start with the basic question: what building types are eligible for labeling under the program? And the short answer is that it's the same types of buildings as Energy Star homes would label: single family, detached, and attached. Multifamily buildings are also eligible up to 5 stories. Central mechanical systems are permitted in those multifamily buildings. And in the 4 and 5 story realm, there's a minimum square footage for the dwelling units as a percentage of the total building footprint. So that's part of the puzzle. And then as we talk about the exact specifications, to add some context, we'll show this type of a slide where we see the framework of energy code sort of being the minimum bar. And on this slide, we see the 2009 IECC, could be the 2012 or 2015. Energy code is sort of our starting point. From there, we want to leverage the Energy Star Homes program, which does better in terms of efficiency and much better in terms of building science as compared to code. And then that third column we see is the Zero Energy Ready Home program. And you'll notice underneath it, it builds upon code, it builds upon Energy Star, and also embeds the Indoor Air Plus program. That's that comprehensive indoor air quality component that Sam mentioned. And then the last column out to the right shows that we can keep going. We can become more efficient, building up to passive house levels of efficiency. And we also point out that jumping from zero ready to passive house, there's a little bit of a disconnect in terms of the rating infrastructure and the software tools that are used. But DOE Zero Ready integrates very much so with Energy Star and Indoor Air Plus as far as who's doing the verifications and the software tools which are being used. So this is really tiny font. You're not supposed to be able to read this, but hopefully you can see those arrows on the side. This is the general framework for the Zero Ready program requirements. Really 2 or 3 main components, depending on how you look at it. The first are those mandatory requirements. These are the must-haves, and we'll look at these in a little more detail on the next slide. But there's some core components that Zero Ready labeled buildings really have to have so we can deliver on the value propositions for the program. The middle section is the target home. And I often describe that as the measuring stick for how efficient the building has to be. And there's lots and lots of trade-off flexibility there. And the target home efficiency is measured in terms of a HERS index, which I'm sure most of the group is familiar with. The target home sets just how low that HERS index has to be for the home to meet the efficiency specs for the program. And then lastly, that the third component down there at the bottom is a size adjustment factor. It's essentially a tool that for homes that are on the much larger size, they have to hit a more rigorous efficiency target. comes into play now and then with larger home designs. And again, that's identical to what Energy Star Homes has in place. So to drill in just a bit further, this is the same concept we saw a couple slides earlier in terms of the staircase of efficiency programs, where we're going from code on the left side over to zero energy ready homes on the far right, and working our way through Energy Star as we get there. But we're drilling in, we can see some of the building blocks of what exactly is in the specs for both Energy Star and for DOE Zero Energy Ready Home. And I want to point out a couple features of this. A number of these building blocks are those must-haves. Those are the mandatories, but we also point out there's multiple options given. So it's not as if there's one pathway, for example, for optimized duct location. There's several pathways by which designs can achieve that. And then in addition to the mandatory is that HERS index. That's the efficiency measuring stick I just mentioned. Lots and lots of possible trade-offs as to how a design can achieve that HERS index. And that HERS index does vary by the site. Generally, it's going to fall in the high 40s to mid 50s, depending on the site and the building design. And as Sam just mentioned, there are over 200,000, I think 241,000 homes that are getting the HERS rating based on last year's data. And the average was 59. So you can do some quick sort of thinking in your head that there's tens of thousands of homes that can easily check the box on having a low enough HERS target to meet that aspect of DOE Zero Energy Ready homes. Quickly, I'm going to work my way up the far right column here, just to give you the quick overview of what these building blocks entail. So we just described the HERS index. Next box up is the enclosure. Right now, the enclosure for Zero Ready is pegged to at least the 2015 IECC building enclosure in terms of the R values. Many of our builders go beyond that, but that's where the base envelope spec is set at this point. The next three items are gray, just like they are for the Energy Star columns. The reason for that is they are the same specs that are required for Energy Star. We have a third-party independent verifier involved in plan review and field verification. We're incorporating Energy Star's water management checklist. These are really well air-sealed, tight homes. We want to do the basic things that make sense to prevent any kind of moisture problems. And then that third box, we have a quality installed HVAC system, and the home has whole house mechanical ventilation. And just to point out, Energy Star Home certification is indeed part of the Zero Ready certification that's required for a home coming into the program. Moving the way up the column, optimized duct location. We don't want to build this fantastic home with a huge liability if ducts are located in a boiling hot attic, for example. So the program requires ducts be located either in conditioned space or some kind of buffered zone where they don't face extreme thermal conditions. Indoor Air Plus package, we mentioned that. That's a comprehensive set of indoor air quality measures. Most builders that are looking at the program are doing 3/4 of those measures, or if not more already. But by referencing the Indoor Air Plus program, we're making sure we're doing all of those measures and not missing any. Second from the top is efficient components. These are some sort of no-brainer items like using an Energy Star set of appliances for the dishwasher, the refrigerator, etc. And it's also ensuring we have efficient hot water systems in the home. And then lastly, Sam mentioned earlier, let's make the home solar ready. Do a few no-cost, low-cost provisions that more easily accommodate PV to be added in the future. So we obviously have a lot more detail on those, but that's the quick overview of the Zero Energy Ready Home specs. And oftentimes we'll show builders how easy it is to move from Energy Star up to Zero Ready. The next few slides are designed to point out a few aspects of Zero Ready and how it integrates with offsite construction and things to take note of, sort of challenges and solutions. So this is probably a familiar topic for offsite production. Verifications. There are things that normally get verified in the field on site build. How does that happen when we have off-site construction. And the Zero Ready program is like other types of inspections. The field verifier is supposed to look at things like the insulation quality, how well the insulation is installed. So some of the solutions on the board right now are plants are able to retain a HERS rater, whether it's a staff member or a contractor that's brought in, and sort of divvy up. The things that need to be inspected while the units are in the factory can be done by that rater, and a parallel rater can do the field verifications. It's also worth noting the second bullet, Energy Star and IAP, which are two labels that are both required for Zero Ready. They have a number of inspection items that are able to be verified by the builder, so it provides some flexibility in that respect. Next item is blower door testing. The houses coming through the Zero Ready program are field tested using a blower door test to get that tightness metric, and that's an important component of the efficiency of the finished house. So some of the solutions to make sure this process goes smoothly, obviously specify good air sealing practices by the field erection team. And then some of our raters in the program, they're a little more conservative when they're modeling the home to make sure it's going to meet Zero Energy Ready home. And they're not assuming an ultra tight ACH 50 target just in case they need that extra margin. If the test result in the field comes out to be a little bit higher, they weren't just right on the edge of certification based on that value. So leave a little margin. In case you're wondering, here's a snapshot of what the ACH 50 requirements for Zero Energy Ready home look like. I'll take us to climate zone 5 just as an example. Our target for Zero Ready is a 2.0 ACH 50, which is pretty tight. I do point out that it's a target. It's not pass fail, so if a house comes in higher, that's okay. It will have to make up the ground in terms of the HERS index somewhere else in the design, but 2.0 is not a pass fail, rather it's a target. And if we work our way over to the right, Zero Ready, if it's an attached house, has a less stringent target at 3.0. And then you can see Energy Star homes, depending on which version, is going to be higher. Code has actually been at 3.0, as most of you are probably aware. And then passive house is ultra tight at 0.6 ACH 50. But a key takeaway here is that Zero Ready, the ACH 50 values are targets, not pass fail, must meet them. Another item just to be aware of are foundation details for off-site construction. When you look at the entirety of the Zero Ready spec with Energy Star and Indoor Air Plus embedded, there are some foundation details that deal with moisture and insulation, radon control. And so the solution we'd recommend is that early in the design process, just make sure the key parties are on the same page as far as what needs to be done with foundation design and detailing. A couple of resources to be aware of is that water management checklist from Energy Star. There's some provisions in there affecting the foundation. Indoor Air Plus is where the radon mitigation design components are shown. And then for the Zero Ready program, foundation insulation. So just be aware of those components and make sure the foundation design at the outset accounts for those. Then one last item to be aware of, which off-site partners, as well as some of our site-built Zero Energy Ready builders, have a bit of a learning curve with, is low-emission materials. And these are really important. We get these out of the Indoor Air Plus program, just so things like cabinets, carpeting, paint are low emissions, and we're not sourcing a lot of chemicals and VOCs into this ultra-tight indoor environment. Instead, we want to make it more healthful. So the solutions, there's a lot of products to pick from, plentiful compliant products out there. But the trick that a lot of our partners have had is making sure that their specifiers, that their contractors, that their contract language, that their product choice list for clients to look at, that they draw from low emission materials that meet the program. Indoor Air Plus, IAP, has a nice little reference sheet called How to Find Low Emission Materials, which clearly calls out, if we're looking for cabinets, what are the third-party labels that I need to look for? And it's a nice reference that our builders have found really helpful in sorting through what they need to specify. And that's shown here. It's available on our website. as well as the Indera Plus website. And just wrapping up over the next few slides, we want to showcase some of the really successful zero energy ready projects that have come through the program, and they've been so successful that they actually were recipients of a Housing Innovation Award. And that's an annual awards program run by the program where jurors select award-winning, sort of best of the best zero energy ready homes. And they in turn, in addition to their award, they appear on DOE's Tour of Zero, which is an online showcase of zero energy ready homes. And there's hundreds and hundreds of them at this point from all over the country. And I'd like to showcase just a few of those that come from the offsite construction realm. Here's one from Garden State Modular. And each profile in the Tour of Zero features a testimonial. Sometimes it's a homeowner. In this case, it's the builder. And very compelling here that zero-ready projects have helped control these risks from moisture and infiltration. They pass their local inspections faster and more reliably. Each profile also contains quite a few photos, typically really nice images of the exterior, the interior, construction technologies. And it's designed to be a very consumer-friendly presentation of these homes. Therefore, the metrics are kept fairly high level. Things like square footage, HERS value, and we really like to point out that bottom number, it's 60,000 in this case. Sometimes it gets into six figures. The accrued energy savings over a 30-year mortgage. This shows just the magnitude of performance that can be expected in these homes. Here's another one we'd like to highlight from Deltec Homes. In this case, the homeowner testimonial is from the homeowner. They absolutely loved having the home. Again, we see the pictures here, interior, exterior, some plant construction photos. Again, the metrics, very consumer friendly. And for those who want to drill in, they can drill in, and there's a 2 to 3 page case study for each house that you can open up as a PDF that gives more detail on the specs, the systems that are used, etc., for those people who want that level of detail. And one last example here is SIP's Home from TC Legend Homes. A nice testimonial from the homeowner, exterior, interior, construction sequencing photos. And again, we have the specifications here. Big value here on the accrued energy savings, north of $116,000. HERS negative 11, so this is a net positive home. So I'll just leave it on this slide so you can see the website, see some of the resources that are available now. And I'm going to turn it back over to Sam to start up the sort of the at-large discussion now.
Okay, great, everyone. And we'll leave this content up on the screen again so you can reference it. I hope you noticed that the HERS index scores were roughly, the highest was 40, one was 0, and one was like -11. So you see that the HERS scores are easily within reach for offsite construction. So I think we're good to go. I have unmuted everyone, so hopefully we can talk and all be heard. What I recommend is if you're having trouble being heard, you can use the chat box and type in your message, and hopefully I'll be able to see it and kind of respond to your feedback that you provide. So let me get back here. So where we're at right now is the first thing we'd like to do is, based on what you've heard, get a sense of, without filtering or prioritizing, any actions that you think we could do with DOE to help engage this sector of the industry, the offsite construction sector. It's been a decent start getting offsite involved in the program, but as we scour the offsite industry across the country, we see there are so many of you on the call who are already providing very high performance homes. So what can we do to create this link and to get you all recognized and differentiated with this label. So if there's any feedback and any suggestions you can provide, we'd love to hear it. And state your name when you speak and your company, if you could.
Hi, Sam. This is Andrew Dye from Unity Homes in New Hampshire. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, great. I got disconnected. Andrew, go ahead from New Hampshire. Andrew?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, you're great.
Okay, I was just saying I don't have any brilliant thoughts, but I do want to say that I appreciate all the effort that you folks have been putting into this program. We are Zero Energy Ready partners here at Unity Homes, and I think we built one home that's been certified Zero Energy Ready. But I think part of what needs to happen here is not only educating offsite builders like ourselves, but continuing to educate the public. And is the intention really for you folks to be doing that through the builders and we take the program to the public, or are you also reaching out directly to consumers in order to establish that brand awareness for Zero Energy Ready Home? Because something like Energy Star, everybody knows about Energy Star, consumers, manufacturers, et cetera. And I'm curious if the goal for Zero Energy Ready is also to have that become sort of a household name among consumers, or is it really going to be more of a business-to-business approach that you're taking and have the builders themselves get the word out?
Those are great points, Andrew. Thank you very much. Let me tackle this really good question in a couple of different ways. First, having been at Energy Star 17 years and grew it up through version 3, I always felt that everyone overestimated the consumer brand awareness of Energy Star relative to homes and its impact. Having traveled, unfortunately, too many tens of thousands of miles every year and visited thousands of homes and communities all across the country, the label was nice and was present, but essentially as I observed and watched the home purchase process, Energy Star was not driving the emotion. The people were there because of the location, the models, the schools, the wonderful floor plans. Energy Star was a wonderful way to enhance trust for the builder to be certified and not a builder who just was saying, trust me. It was a program that once people got to be educated, would resonate and connect it to other parts of their life where they've seen Energy Star. But to say Energy Star was a driving force for consumers, I always thought was an over estimate of the influence of the brand for buying a home. A home is such, it's the ultimate consumer product. So that's the way I observed the program for the 17 years I was there. But it gave the builder tremendous ammunition during the engagement with the consumer to truly add really powerful business case and value about working with them as a builder. The trust factor was, I think, huge that it brought to the table. So I would say that's identical to Zero Energy Ready Home. Obviously, you won't have the same leverage to convey that. Did you see that you'll see Zero Energy Ready Home on your refrigerator and your clothes washer? But this is the U.S. Department of Energy. This is the federal government's most rigorous program for high performance. It puts you in the top 1% of builders in the nation. And so it is a B2B kind of thing. But that said, we are working with this 1 minute message that we showed you, trying to get industry to help us share that message, reach out to consumers, and build a growing interest in zero energy. I would say right now that the consumer interest in zero as an overall concept is well established. All the indicators and research are very powerful that way. So this is a tool to tap into that interest with consumers and with builders. I think if you look at our resources that are on our website, I hope many of you are impressed with their effectiveness at creating contrast, at creating trust, at leveraging differentiation and with awards and recognition. So I encourage builders to do that. But I think that is always the challenge with these labeling programs is it's a very difficult product to have recognition. So we'll keep working on that. And I think that's a great question.
Thanks.
Any other thoughts about things that we can do to work better with the offsite industry?
Hey, Sam, it's Aaron Holm from Blockable.
Oh, hey, Aaron.
How are you?
Doing great. I'm all recovered from IBS.
Nice. So question about focus on multifamily and how you're looking at multifamily relative to the initiatives that you have and sort of communicating zero energy as a program standard and as a measurement standard in light of performance requirements that are coming online in places like California for multifamily?
I'm going to let Jamie handle this question because Jamie's been developing our multifamily update, and I'll let him answer this question.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Handing off the headset here. So I'll start with a broader response regarding how Zero Energy Ready is approaching multifamily. I didn't get into it in the initial slides just for the sake of brevity. But the group may be aware that Energy Star Homes, that we keep mentioning as one of the stair steps up to Zero Ready, is in the process of revamping their multifamily program. So instead of some multifamily being under the homes program and some multifamily buildings going under the high rise, they've molded those two into one comprehensive Energy Star multifamily new construction program. That's out in the market now. It's able to be used. It'll be required to be used, I believe, beginning of 2021. So there's a lot of partners out there like utilities and other efficiency programs that enjoy the ability to reference Energy Star, and if they want an upper tier, they like to reference Zero Energy Ready above that. So in that context, Zero Ready has felt that we need to modify our program to have a sort of a parallel multifamily offering as to the new Energy Star multifamily new construction program. We have a draft of that out. We just received comments back. We'll present on it at ResNet. So that's in the pipeline. It's probably a year, at least a year behind the Energy Star program as far as getting out there and being required to be used. We're not near that yet, but we do have a draft program that stakeholders are free to review and comment upon. Now, drilling into California, that's kind of a different context for us, single family or multifamily. We're working with the Energy Star program in how we update our specs specific to California in response to the latest version of Title 24. So I could say we're looking at that right now. California's been different because obviously Title 24 is different. It's gotten far more aggressive. So both Energy Star and Zero Ready have a California-specific version of their specs. And we're in a transition phase right now. I can't tell you where we're exactly going to land at this point.
Great, thank you.
Hey, if I was just to weigh in a multifamily, by the way, I would say, though, from a larger perspective, that the Zero Ready Home program plays very much the same in multifamily as it does in single family in terms of the consumer message, that it lives better, in terms of the expectations that they should have for making that kind of decision. You know, the bigger question will come into whether multifamily is for sale or for rent, and now who is the beneficiary of all the improvements that are being made. But essentially, it should work the same for multifamily as it does for single family as a labeling program. And again, distinguishing homes in the top 1%, homes that are so not energy efficient, they can offset all the most energy with renewable energy systems. So most of that should play out the same. Any other recommendations, actions, or thoughts about integration? Have any of you certified on the line, have any of you certified a zero energy ready home besides Unity?
Hi, Sam. It's Chris
Well,
Blanchard from Indy Dwell.
Okay, how you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, we've certified a number of homes here in Idaho.
So how do you address the challenge with verification, Chris?
We employed a contracted HERS rater, and we're actually at this point looking at bringing one in-house, just making that part of the QA QC process.
Would you train an existing staff person or hire a new person?
That's what we were just sitting here kind of discussing, how we might approach it. We have a lot of in-house experience with this stuff in the design crew, so yeah, not sure. But it's something that we're committed to from the beginning of the founding of the company. So yeah, we were happy to see that there's more talk about this. I mean, we find it's real nice and easy to control this stuff at the factory level as opposed to building on site. So it's a great program that I would think that offsite builders would be looking toward.
Was there anything specific? Was there anything in the specs that were more challenging for you from your basic construction that you had to fight through?
No, this is Erin Sorensen. So I've been involved with the design since 2018. And we knew from the get-go when we launched that we wanted to have homes that were zero energy ready. And so everything, I mean, I think your opening slide was optimize efficiency, do no harm, and solar ready. And we're doing all of those things. It's just a part of our process.
I'm so impressed. You repeated those 3 blocks perfectly. Excellent. Good. Anything you think we could do better to help Offsite more effectively work with the program?
I think just to kind of mirror what some other folks were saying, getting information out to the public, I think would be really helpful, especially some of these systems are pretty costly up front, but over the long life of these homes, it ends up saving the ultimate owner like a lot of money. And so communicating those costs, I think, would be really valuable for the builders to get them to adopt these more expensive HVAC systems specifically.
Since that comment's come up twice, I'd like to take just a couple of minutes to get us all on the same page when it comes to what we're trying to do in that space and make sure we know the resources that are available as a partner that we've developed for the consumer. So the first thing I want to mention is you saw the video with a horrible voice overlay by me, not able to access the audio that's in on the video. So I will first tell you that that video is on our website. You can download it, and anyone can place that video on their own website or provide a link to it. So I think it does a reasonably good job with a very, very admittedly constrained budget at educating the consumer in 60 seconds how they can live better. So I would encourage all of you to know that are making any commitments to Zero to know that you can access it or provide links to it in cases where you're doing it on a spot basis, and show a specific client or builder that video. So that's there just as a first attempt to really educate on the why, and everything starts with the why. Why are you building homes this way? And again, the message is homes are too important to get wrong. They're the ultimate consumer product, probably the most expensive purchase for most households. You deserve to live better. Okay, so that video, 1 minute, available to everyone. And what DOE is trying to do is work with our kindred spirit industry members to promote that video, whether it be product manufacturers, associations, and so forth, to know that their products and services will result in a better consumer experience with what they manufacture if it's installed in a zero-ready home. So educate customers on interest in this zero energy certification. So that's the why. The next thing we try to do is create contrast between zero-ready and the other major options you have as a homeowner. So once you get past the things you're trying to do to find a good location, good architecture, and so forth, a lot of your choices on performance typically, most likely, will be Code Home, an Energy Star home, or a Zero Energy Ready home. And so we have those comparison bar fact sheets that show that where Zero Ready has 100% of the recommendations by the leading experts on health, comfort, on savings, on technology, you get half of those or a fraction of those with the minimum Energy Star requirements and hardly any with a code. So you get the best expert recommendations and a simple contrast. They want all, half, or hardly any. So I think contrast is a very effective way at conveying consumers' value. So that's on our website, so it's featured on not only in the fact sheet, but on the brochure, and other material we do. So the contrast is a big tool that we give for educating consumers. The third thing we do on top of that is then we provide trust. And the way we provide trust is we've harvested all those testimonials from hundreds of homes recognized by our awards program, and we basically put them in a bank of testimonials organized by attribute. So if you want consumer testimonials about health, who are zero energy homeowners, or comfort, or savings, or technology, or durability, whatever your attribute of interest might be, you could go and access those. And even more usefully, there's a template dedicated attribute fact sheet that would integrate those testimonials. Again, it could be a health fact sheet, it could be a savings fact sheet, it could be a technology fact sheet, but it shows the comparison bars, it has the quotes, it has the benefits. And again, if you're anxious to, or if you're interested in educating buyers in a particular one-on-one situation on a particular attribute, you could do that. Or you can just use, again, you could download the testimonials you want and have all these zero energy ready home experiences empirically evident to your customer, the consumer, with that database system. And the next item I'll point out is that you can earn trust by participating in our Housing Innovation Awards. We showcase 3 that have been distinguished in the presentation, but essentially every year we give lots of recognition to our builders who submit their homes, and these awards are a great way to be distinguished as a national award winner, again, by the most rigorous program by the U.S. federal government for the best performing homes. And so the recognition is another great differentiator. So all these are really useful for engaging the public, engaging consumers, showcasing the recognition, the contrast, the trust with the testimonials, and the logo that's from the U.S. federal government, and that you're certified. And remember, in the world of certification, how powerful that is. You know, a used car versus a certified pre-owned car, just the certification component will add up to $1,500 to $2,000 of value on, let's say, a $20,000 to $25,000 vehicle. So that's a huge, huge bump for engaging and documenting trust. So the label, and the testimonials are all compelling ways working with consumers to do that. So I'm kind of off my basic slides here, but I'll share with you that where we may not have enough resources to do a Super Bowl commercial, we've been working really hard the past 5 years to develop powerful resources for engaging consumers. And I hope that many of you that are interested in the program will take the time to go to the website that we showed on the slide before and just look at some of those resources. They're really, in our mind, tied to proven ways of engaging consumers and changing behavior. But thanks for the question. That was, I think we're trying to do the best we can with the resources we have, and we'll continue to try to find ways to just make sure the consumer knows this is the choice in their best interest when they buy a home. Thanks for the question. Any other recommendations or actions for us?
Hey Sam, this is Leah with Deltec.
Yes.
This is Leo with Deltec. I do have a recommendation or a suggestion. I would like to see a design to earn program like there was with Energy Star. There was a design to earn program. I'd love to see that for Zero Energy Ready Home as well. I'm kind of in the more custom home market, so I have to sell it to clients. It's not just as easy as me saying I'd like to do it. I have to sell the client on it. And I'd like to make it easy by providing, like not just the house package, but here's the plans, here's the HVAC design, which I could do that kind of stuff. But if there was a formal design to earn program, I wonder if that would help have traction for people who are providing plans as well as, offsite stuff.
Leah, great to hear you, and thanks for the recommendation. I think there might be some easy ways for us to address that with a quick solution. When the HERS rater goes and takes the initial plans and runs them through the software, the result will be an indication that it is or is not consistent with it does or doesn't meet the Zero Energy Ready Home requirements. So maybe we can find a way to make that qualify as almost a design to earn Zero Energy Ready Home. So if the initial plan review by the rater comes up positive for compliant with Zero Ready, maybe that's equivalent to a design to earn. But let us look at that. It's a good suggestion, and our team will go over that. Thanks for that.
Cool.
Sam?
Yes.
And if you can hear me, this is Dick Struthers from Unity Homes.
Hey, Dick. Good to hear you.
Hi. So I was just looking through the builder list on your website, and first, it would be nice to know, or perhaps you could provide some insight as to, how busy that section of your site is and people looking up builders, perhaps. And specific to offsite builders, it might be worth considering having a further filter if people are already specifically looking at wanting to engage with a prefabricator like this group, that become a subgroup of builder.
Interesting. Okay, let us run that through discussion here. Look at the logistics. But I think that's an interesting recommendation. Let me ask you something in parallel to that. We have our recognition. I mentioned the Housing Innovation Awards, and we were thinking about a category exclusively for offsite construction. Right now, offsite homes come in depending on whether they are used in the other categories, which are single family detached, multifamily, affordable. What category am I missing, Jamie? Custom spec. So we have 5 or 6 categories. And if it happens that a home in one of those categories is offsite, it's not recognized specially. But would you think it's better for us to have a category just for offsite as its own recognition?
Maybe. I was just looking from the standpoint of, sort of we do get a number of inquiries that are generated by people, just broadly looking for prefabricated homes. They're not even necessarily looking for, zero energy homes or high performance homes, but they're somehow intrigued by this sort of high tech, innovative way of building. And it's just a thought about the way you index builders.
Okay, let us look into that. I think that that there may be a way for us to flag it as a one of the attributes that we list. So we'll add that to the list that we check out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thanks for the recommendation.
Sure.
Anyone else? Or anyone else have any thought about our recognition category just for offsite?
This is Leah with Deltec.
Yes.
There's
Hey, Leah.
a lot of different kinds of offsite, so I'm not sure because modular is really different than some of the other methods of offsite. So I'm actually not sure because that is very broad in what it is. I think labeling it on the website, like the guy from Unity was saying, would be really good because if people are coming to the builder section of the website to look for builders, knowing what kind they're looking for is helpful.
Good feedback. Thanks. Any other thoughts?
Hello, it's William from
Hey, this is Jerry.
Oh, it's actually William. Jerry couldn't make it today. So just following up on that last comment there, and we're talking about modular and prefab and offsite or finals. The factory built certification code for modular housing and prefabricated homes is slightly different in that for a prefabricated or wall panel, floor panel company, as such, the factory built code requires that each component has a stamp or a label attached to it. That particular label has a cost. For modular, it's probably a single cost. But if you're manufacturing panels which are individual and they require a stamp, and that can become very expensive. Now, if there's something that we could do, or we could get the code changed where we can get factory certification on our individual panels. We have experience and knowledge of pre-fitting insulation walls in panels, which we could bring to the market, but at the moment we can't because of the inspections that have to be undertaken by the city. So if there's something we could do there to highlight that scenario, now that's for everybody that's doing prefabricated panels are going to be in the same position. There's something we could do there.
So you're talking about the unique challenges in California, right?
Correct, yes.
Let our team look into this more. I have to be honest that there's a lot in California that is difficult for us to have a sphere of influence. There's a lot of effort by California to kind of call their own shots. So let us see what's involved and see if there's any play there for us where we can be effective. But we've heard this come up. We don't know yet how to deal with it, and I thank you for sharing it. But California is always different. That's we've come to understand. Okay, that's a horrible answer, but I don't know how. I'm struggling with how to address this one.
Okay, we all are.
Thanks. Okay. Any other thoughts? Don't be shy. before I move on to identifying some high priority steps? Going once. Okay, great. I think what I'll do is just kind of give you the summary of where my notes are, and give you all a sense of recommendations that jump out. So one is came across as a need to increase brand awareness, and I think Andrew at Unity kind of brought that home. Aaron talked about how we have to figure out how to address multifamily and add clarity and solutions for multifamily specific product. Then we also have, I think also, I guess, Anne and Chris at IndieWell talk about engaging consumers, also came up with them. Leah recommended a design to earn label so that the plans themselves that are being featured can be showcased as ready for Zero Energy Ready Home. We also had the action to augment the locator tool for Zero Ready Home, so the builder list would highlight the offsite capabilities with specific builders. And of course, Integra just mentioned coming up with unique solutions for verification in California. So, does any of these jump out as something that you'd like to see DOE jump on first and most aggressively? The Super Bowl commercial seems to win. Okay, we'll go with the Super Bowl commercial. Okay, now yes.
Can I just add something? If you come here to another one of these webinars, we'd be very interested to talk about resilience and where you're heading on that. It's something that is on our minds here, kind of like what's next. We're looking at a lot of areas for building modular homes that have been destroyed by tornadoes and hurricanes and otherwise, and so resilience is a big thing.
Great comment, and I think we're always looking ahead. We have a whole Zero Energy Home version 2 file we keep with our best thoughts about where the program would go. Our personal thinking is that we are locked in until we get to somewhere around 7,000 homes a year. We don't want to change the spec until we earn our medal, if you will. But I still think it would be useful, as you suggest, to share where next. I did highlight that resilience has been such a significant priority within the Building Technologies Office that the writing's kind of on the wall with that as something we should consider. I'll also mention what's a very high priority within the Buildings Office is grid integrated efficient buildings, that the buildings somehow adopt technologies that make them more flexible and nuanced when it comes to being optimized for operation with the grid. I'll also tell you that there's very significantly on our mind is the 2021 IECC as it's passed. Should that become the baseline for the program? If it does, it's a very significant jump in the enclosure, and we have to look very carefully at the timing and capabilities to move up to that baseline. Also watch how it's moving through the process before we get ahead of ourselves. But I would tell you that that's really front and center. It's a very, it was very surprising how that turned out. It's a very rigorous next jump in 2021. And it was really shocking almost how it moved through. So we have our eyes on that. We're also very much looking at the exciting changes in the HERS rating process. By the end of this year, there's a new path for HVAC quality installation, where the way insulation is grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, the HVAC will also be graded grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and very exciting to us. It will hopefully eliminate the quality assured contractor requirement, which we think creates some significant challenges. But that's coming down the line and is going to be a significant change. So I think what we could do is pull a lot of these developments and vision ahead that we have and share those with you. I think that's a great recommendation. I'll tell you right now, we'll commit to do that because that's almost a no-brainer. It's easy for us to do. We have the content, and I think it would be useful. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else have some last thoughts? Okay, so I'm going to attempt to do a wrap up, and what I will say is we were so grateful you all turned up for this call. We were also impressed that we were able to make the connection and get to you on short notice, and appreciate that you did that, but also reinforce for us the connection between what we're doing and your industry. And so we're just by the interest expressed in this call, we're confident we're on the right track, investing more effort in this program to engage the offsite industry. So I'm going to almost commit to you that you can expect to see a lot more engagement by us as we move forward. I'd like to use this last few minutes of the call also to let you know that my window at DOE ends on February 29th. I'm moving on to my other work I do, working with the industry. I've been for 5.5 years developing a framework for how I work with builders to optimize the product. I hope in that capacity I see a lot of you as well. I've been able to identify that if we do optimize all the consumer experiences effectively and strategically, we can save $100,000 to $250,000 per home, and that provides a lot of additional resources to include high performance and zero energy features. So I will be leaving on February 29th, which is something I want you all to know. And I want you to know is that the group behind is an amazing group. We've been working for the past 8 years together developing this program. They are, I can tell you, I'm leaving you with incredible capabilities and skills and knowledge. And people here are stepping in to fill in behind me. You'll be seeing more of Eric Whirling with this program. We have a new staff person, Terrence Mosley, who is also stepping in and will help work with the Newport Partners team. So I wanted to head off to the past. Any concerns people have that I'm leaving, this program's in great hands. Amazing team here will continue. So, and a lot of the discussion we had today will be put into practice, and a lot of the actions you recommended will be developed. So I want to thank you all for attending, and say just look for more contact from us moving forward. Thank you all very much on behalf of myself and Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you very much.